Acacia Blackwell is a writer from Portland, Oregon, which is ideal because sunshine gives her anxiety. Right place, friend. She's currently earning an MFA from Pacific University, which she intends to finish despite recently being told by Tom that to be a better writer, she needs to become DMFA-ified.
Fuck the MFA.
There it is. Casey has been a long-time intern and volunteer with Literary Arts, where she still can't believe she got to eat lunch with Tom Brokaw and smoke a cigarette with Art Spiegelman, and where Lydia Yuknovich will be winning an Humphrey Book Award soon. That's going on today.
Somebody had to say that.
I just spit mad fire on me. She's the most recent person to get the honor of calling herself Pond Scum. Is currently working on a collection of linked personal essays that she really, really doesn't want to admit might actually be a memoir. Let's welcome Acacia Blackwell.
Can you hear me? I didn't know that I was supposed to say something about Tom, but I will. Those last couple of months have been amazing. It's a dream come true. I grew up in Portland, so when people ask me like how I heard about dangerous writing, I'm just like, who didn't know already from birth? So yeah, I still kind of can't believe that it happened to me. Brad, kind of brought me into the fold, so thank you. And, this is it's the opening scene to my statement. Colin and I were at my grandmother's house last winter, decorating cookies with my mom, my grandmother, and my 5 younger siblings, a tradition we've carried out since I was in grade school. Colin, a 6'3", 30-year-old man, was completely engrossed in decorating cookies to look like zombies with my little brother. I sat beside him, sipping wine, chatting with my mom. Mimi, as I call my grandmother, has boxes upon boxes of toys, the ones that belong to my dad and my aunt, some that belong to my cousin, and many that she had collected and stored for me over the years. There are all the wooden baby toys my parents had been so proud of, banning any and all plastic gifts from early birthday parties. There are the Raggedy Ann and Andy dolls that Mimi sews for all the children in the family to this day. Mine was only one full arm. Then there are the dozens of plastic toys that used to belong to my cousins but now sit in boxes in the basement. On cookie day, she brings them out, even the plastic ones, since my mom doesn't really care about that anymore. I was standing, sipping a glass of wine when something hard and heavy hit me in the shin and fell to the ground with a smack. I looked down and saw it, my first prosthetic arm, really my only prosthetic arm, and my youngest brother, Campbell, smiling up at me from the floor, drool dripping from his goofy, know-nothing toddler grin. I felt like laughing and throwing up at the same time. The sight of the grease-stained rubber and resin arm-shaped thing at my feet sent me just for a moment into a physical and emotional upheaval that I could feel in my earlobes and my groin. Colin's hand went to my back. I'd gotten the prosthesis as a 5-year-old. My dad's mother in particular was worried that I wouldn't live a normal life, that I'd be teased or harassed. So before I was old enough to notice the lack of my left arm, my grandmother began to ask if I wanted to get a new one, like a robot arm. I don't know if I said yes or no, but a few weeks later, close to my 5th birthday, I was admitted to the Shriners Hospital to be fitted for a prosthetic. I love her for it. She wanted the best life for me, and she wanted me to explore every option. She took me for the casting, and the doctor wrapped the end of my left arm below the elbow in cold strips of gauze wet with plaster of Paris. I was excited to get the cast, and I looked forward to wearing it to school, getting my friends to sign it in purple and lime green Sharpie. She explained to me that it wasn't that kind of cast, but I insisted, and she asked the doctor if I could keep it. When I wore the thing to school, I told people I had broken my elbow, not because I was ashamed of the cast's true origins, but because it was more exciting and got more attention. A few weeks later, I got my new arm. The myoelectric prosthetics, the ones they have now, that can sense the electrical activity and respond without physical effort, were barely out of prototype and prohibitively expensive. Shriners paid for the mechanical one, but I only wore it for a very brief time. The arm was heavy and uncomfortable, made of some kind of fiberglass. The technology is improving rapidly now that so many veterans are returning from wars, absent arms or legs or both. But back then, it was clumsy, unmotivated progress, not at the forefront of medical research. Under the prosthetic, I had to wear a little nylon glove over the end of my arm, which was caked with baby powder to deter blisters that formed daily. After the powdering and the nylon barrier, I would slip the end of my arm into a socket modeled after my cast at a specific angle. And there you had it. If you let your eyes relax into a blur, a one-handed child became a two-handed one. Only not at all. The prosthetic arm was gloved in a silicone cover that was supposed to mimic the appearance of a natural hand. It was detailed and even had rubbery fingernails. But combined with the limitation of movement the device was capable of, the fake hand cover wasn't fooling anyone. The goal of the entire project was cosmetic, not utilitarian. Connected to the prosthetic was a kind of one-shouldered harness strap. When I wanted to open and close the tiny hand, I had to pull my right shoulder forward to activate the pulley. And with some effort, the tiny fingers, all clustered together, would open and shut in the gesture you would use to indicate someone talking. I gave it a few months. I went to Shriners retreats for kids with missing limbs. I met other kids born without hands or feet, sometimes both. I met amputees and I learned the difference between them and me, about the different kinds of trauma we experienced. I learned how to fish, holding the rod in the grip of the prosthetic and reeling with my right hand. But I found myself more limited than before. I had learned to tie my shoes at age 3, and now at age 5 I couldn't. Without the arm, I could do monkey bars, at least 3 or 4 of them, swinging my entire body to get momentum, thrusting myself forward at just the right moment, like jumping out of a swing at the top of the arc to achieve that zero gravity propulsion, and reaching in midair to grab the next bar. I got a lot of calluses and also a lot of playground street cred, but I couldn't do it with the plastic finger swinging awkwardly from my left side. It didn't work for me. And soon it was relegated to the closet of abandoned toys for my baby brother to discover and weaponize. And now, after 2 decades, seeing this disturbingly lifelike synthetic replica of a human hand in miniature designed to match my own filled me with equal parts disgust and morbid curiosity. It was tiny, and I remember being tiny inside of it. My muscles and cells recalled the familiar heaviness. Something that was created to create a sense of balance, but really only accomplished the crude appearance of symmetry. For 21 years, I'd cultivated a sense of self that perhaps immaturely, absolutely precluded fake body parts. It was my ethos. I'd lived by then for 2 decades as a woman with one hand, one full arm, one of something that should have been 2. And in some ways, I'd embraced it. In others, I'd hid behind it, or just plain hid. After a moment, when I was able to exhale and break my slack-jawed staring contest with the flesh-colored appendage, I looked up at the thrower, my 2-year-old brother Campbell, blonde and green-eyed with a bowl cut and a smile that would make your uterus glow. Big sister, he said, I want to wear your arm. Thank you.